Many dark rides exist around the world. From shooting rides to motion simulators, many options exist. However, many people brush them off as clunky, cheap, or bland. That is, when you're outside of Disney or Universal. These two giants in the industry are renowned for their amazing dark rides. From Rise of the Resistance to the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, these rides are critically acclaimed and loved by millions of guests. But out of all of them, one ride sticks out and holds a place in my heart the most, and that is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And today, I will be reviewing this incredible ride and explaining why it is my personal favorite dark ride I have ridden. Universal Orlando Resort is one of the most popular tourist destinations not only in Florida, but also in the United States as a whole. In the mid-2000s, Universal Creative was looking for another way to enhance the resort experience. And after talks with Disney fell through, famed author J.K. Rowling began talks with the group regarding the use of the popular Harry Potter franchise within the theme parks. Universal saw potential in the property, and offered Rowling a much better deal than the smaller initial offer given by Disney. Plans were officially set in motion to build a new themed land within Islands of Adventure over part of the park's Lost Continent themed area. This would include the construction of many new buildings and facades, but also some retheming of existing rides in the area, notably the Dueling Dragons and Flying Unicorn coasters. The plans were announced in 2007, and 3 years later on June 18th, 2010, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened to the general public. Many new shops, alleys, environments, and theming was added, but the new expansion wasn't just shops and theming. Universal designed the new area to open with a special flagship attraction to impress visitors and help sell the area and ultimately boost attendance. Universal Creative put their all into Forbidden Journey. This is not just a ride, but rather a full-on experience. Starting when we enter the first part of the queue, you go through the underbelly of Hogwarts. There's a bunch of rock everywhere, and it's somewhat claustrophobic. There are a couple of gargoyles, and it's dimly lit, which shows you're in the underbelly of the castle. You then exit out of that and go around into a garden/greenhouse area similar to that you saw in the films with all those weird magic plants. After that, you go up into the castle, and it really feels like you're in the nicer part of the castle. You're also climbing up higher and higher, and it's really impressive on Universal's part. You go past some elegant and impressive statues, which again shows you're in the nice part of the castle, and then the talking paintings start showing up. These are actually screens, of course, but Universal uses this special glass which hides the glare and makes it more like a talking painting rather than a TV. You then pass Dumbledore, who talks to you from this mezzanine area, and then you meet Harry Potter and friends in the lecture hall, and they explain the ride story to you and what you're going to do and all that. After that, you keep going through more halls with more talking paintings and scenery, and it's all nice theming and all. And then you meet this talking hat guy, which I think is really cool. He's supposed to be like the final thing before you start the ride. Once you're finally past all that, you finally enter the well-decorated boarding area with plenty of mirrors and overall mystical lighting and theming, which I find nice. The ride system for this thing is very excellent and innovative. For this system, Universal wanted to emulate riders flying on a broomstick, similar to how Harry and his friends would do so. To do this, they looked in a quite unusual spot. KUKA is a company who is well known for their robotic arm attractions. They're popular among smaller parks and even some chains like Merlin with the Legoland parks. However, Universal chose this device to emulate the broom-like experience. However, some changes were needed in order to fit Universal's demands. First change made was the seating arrangement. The standard 2-seat arrangement was upgraded to a 4-seat arrangement to fit the high demand of Universal's parks. The next was a more significant one. Since the ride would have been highly restricted in what it could do being in a fixed spot, the arms were put on carts that could move around the ride and allow the arm to swing around and simulate the broom experience while riders go through the ride sets and screens. creating more opportunity for Universal to add to the experience and make riders feel more immersed. On top of that, Universal implemented a moving loading system, which allows the ride to consistently keep its capacity up by mitigating delays related to loading issues. By allowing a fixed but ample period for loading and unloading to prevent holdups with the ride, these implementations allow the ride to both be able to handle the large crowds of Universal and provide an excellent experience for guests who want to immerse themselves in the world of Harry Potter. So once you're out of the loading area, you go over this stuff, and then you come out and you begin flying for the first time. You float, and then you enter your first real screen section where you fly around Hogwarts Castle, you meet Hagrid, and then you enter your first set, or your second set, and it's like a cave full of giant spiders, which creep you out as you move through the tight cave, and there are all these creepy webs everywhere. And then you go through another screen featuring this little broomstick event. I'm not a Potter fan, so I don't know what it's called. But then these Dementors drag you and Harry into another cave, and then there's a huge jump scare from this giant Dementor animatronic. You can't really see it very well in the video, but trust me, it's freaky. Then you go through the creepy cave, and Harry saves you from the Dementors using this spell, and you're on your way in another screen section where you rush back to Hogwarts, and then you win or something because everyone congratulates you before you travel back to the loading area and finally exit the ride. This ride is amazing. It's just amazing. There's no other way to say it. This was the rise of the resistance of its day. There was nothing like it. It was new, it was innovative, it was different, and I'm convinced it still holds up today. From the excellent detail both on the ride and in the queue, to the overall theming found in the Wizarding World, even if most agree this isn't as polished as Rise of the Resistance, I still feel it is the best ride Universal has ever produced. There is a reason it's been built in both Hollywood and Japan, and there's also a reason Universal later would build Diagon Alley at the other main Florida park. I'll just say that. I don't think I can say much more than that. It's absolutely amazing start to finish, and it is at the top of my list for rides I want to return to whenever I get back to Florida after this Corona thing is gone. I have amazing memories of this ride when I was younger, way back in 2012, right? It was right before I was starting to become an enthusiast and discover the world of coasters, and even parks in general. It may have been a while, but I'm still certain this thing is the best dark ride I've ever ridden, so what's the overall verdict for this ride? Just to note, this ride gets an intermediate rating on the aggression scale. This is because most people can comfortably ride it. It doesn't go upside down completely to my knowledge, and it's not too aggressive. It doesn't swing you around too much. It's not like those level 5 experiences on robo coasters on like the Kuka Arms at Legoland or I.O.A events, so that's why it gets that ranking. For this review, I'll also be using a letter grade system, which will range from an F- all the way to an A+, and even has an S grade for something that's absolutely amazing. Speaking of which, this ride does get an S grade. This ride is amazing compared to almost all the dark rides out there. The effort and detail are unmatched, and the experience is just unforgettable. This is the closest thing to perfection that Universal has ever produced, and this should certainly be on your bucket list. That's about all for my review. If you enjoyed this stuff, be sure to check out my channel, CoasterKeyyt, again, CoasterKeyyt without the space. Also be sure to subscribe to this channel and mine if you like this channel too and want to see more coaster and theme park related content in the future. That'll be all for today. Peace out.